Good evening. I'm Patricia Chin, principal at Hickory Woods Elementary and co-chair of the Walled Lake Parenting Education Team. On behalf of our parenting education team and our partners at the Lakes Area Community Coalition, welcome to our Wellness Wednesday webinars. Tonight's topic is yoga and mindfulness. Our presenter this evening is Dawne Weiseman, certified yoga teacher. Dawne is currently a special education teacher as well and utilizes mindfulness within her instruction. Thank you, Dawne, for spending this time with us this evening on this important topic. Before we get started, I have a few quick housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded and will be available through the Walled Lake and Lakes Area Community Coalition websites, as well as linked in our district weekly updates. The chat function is disabled for this meeting, but if you have any questions at all, at the bottom of your screen, you'll see the Q&A feature. This looks like two thought bubbles with the letters Q&A in it. And if you open that feature, you'll simply type your question in the box and our panelists will respond either during the presentation or at the end. So thank you for joining us and thanks for choosing to spend your time with us today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dawne Weiseman. I'm so excited to be here today talking about yoga and mindfulness with you. As mentioned before, I'm a certified yoga teacher and a special education teacher. And I also have two little kids at home. I have a daughter, she's in 2nd grade, and a son in kindergarten. So thank you for being here today. So we're going to talk about yoga and mindfulness. And we're going to talk about what those two terms mean, what we mean when we say those terms. I feel like mindfulness is a term that we hear a lot lately. It's kind of this catchphrase that people are throwing around a lot. So what exactly does that mean? What are the benefits of yoga and mindfulness? And also, how can we start to implement these things into our daily lives? So when I'm talking tonight, I'm going to be going over the benefits and how to implement these things. And those will go for adults as ourselves, how to implement these into our own lives, as well as ways to implement these into our children's lives. So let's get started. So, oops, I went a little bit ahead. Sorry about that. So what is yoga and mindfulness? I'm going to start with yoga. A lot of times we hear the word yoga, and here, especially in the Western world, we think that yoga is this physical exercise. It's something that we do to strengthen our body and to get flexibility. We often see pictures of people standing on their heads or doing these crazy poses, and it can be really intimidating. And while that's true, yoga is great for strengthening our bodies and giving us flexibility. That's not really all yoga is. The definition of yoga means to yoke or unite. So not yoke like an egg yolk, but yoke, you think of like to join. So it literally means union. So when we talk about yoga, it's so much more than those physical postures or those asanas. It's more about being present and being engaged in your yoga practice and your movements. It's about finding the harmony between your body and your mind, being aware and being engaged in what you're doing. I'm trying to quiet your mind. The mindfulness is, and I really like this quote, it is, I'm going to move my picture up. Awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. So that means being aware of what is going around you. I know for me, something that I'm doing all the time, as a mom and working outside the home, I always have so much going on that I'm constantly trying to multitask. So, I'm doing 2, 3 things at once, thinking that it's going to help me get everything done. And if I'm not always multitasking, I'm always thinking about what has to happen next, or I'm replaying conversations or situations back in my head. So I'm always thinking about what happened previously or what has to happen next and doing more than one thing at once. And really, mindfulness is to stop the multitasking, stop doing all of those things at once, focus on what you're doing in the moment and being engaged with what you're doing in the moment. So an example I have of this is like eating a meal, eating my lunch, for example. Whenever I eat my lunch, I don't slow down. I have so much stuff to do. So I'm eating my lunch, as I'm scrolling through my phone, or I'm checking my email, or I'm talking with the kids about different things. I'm never just focusing on eating. So being mindful, and we're saying practicing the mindfulness would be while you're eating lunch, you're sitting down in a comfortable seat, maybe sitting at your table, you're paying attention to the meal that you're eating. You're focusing on how it smells and enjoying how it smells or how it tastes, how it looks, all of those different things that you might be hearing going around you, instead of scrolling on your phone or checking your email or even reading a book, but just focusing on the present moment. So when I talk about mindfulness and yoga throughout this presentation, really I'm going to try to incorporate those together. Yoga is, for intent purposes for this presentation, a type of mindfulness, a tool that we can use to help implement mindfulness into our daily lives. So the benefits of mindfulness and yoga, there are really so many wonderful benefits. When they talk about multitasking, or we're always multitasking and running around and doing different things, really finds out that we are really less efficient than if we were to just focus on the task at hand, focus on what we're doing. So when we are practicing that mindfulness, we start to learn how to respond and not react. So what I mean by that is if something happens, somebody says something to you, and maybe it wasn't very kind, or maybe you step on a Lego. If you're like in my house, there's Legos everywhere, and you step on a Lego, and your first reaction is to react, right? To scream. And, it hurts stepping on those Legos. Maybe we don't have to have this big reaction. To respond would be when something happens or someone says something, instead of having this big reaction, we take a breath, we take a moment, and then we respond. So that's one huge benefit of practicing mindfulness and yoga. Another benefit, as you can see on the screen, it helps reduce stress, because it helps lower anxiety. It can help increase self-compassion and self-esteem, really increasing self-love for yourself, which we know when we have more self-compassion for ourselves, we then can express more compassion and love towards others. So there has been some reduction in bullying in the school systems when we're practicing mindfulness, just heightened compassion for yourself and for others. It can really help increase your ability to focus and concentrate. This can be really helpful for our students as well. That can improve academic performance. If we're able to learn how to sustain attention for longer periods of time and focus more, we're going to see an increase in that academic performance as well. So it can be really beneficial for us as well as our students, our children. And reducing stress, managing stress, and it can also help improve our physical health. So a lot of really great benefits. There's a lot more benefits out there, but these are some of the main benefits that research has been able to show for mindfulness and yoga. So it's all great. Now we know what mindfulness and yoga is, and it's great. We see these great benefits, but it doesn't really do us any good if we don't learn how to make this a into our own daily lives. And if you're like me, like I mentioned before, you're busy, right? We have a lot of stuff going on. And sometimes it feels like, okay, now we have this one more thing to do. So, I have to work out, and I have to, clean your house, and you have to manage your household and do all this stuff. And now you have to find an hour a day to do yoga, or 20 minutes to sit and meditate. And that can be really daunting. And then we feel our stress increase instead of decrease. It feels like one more thing to do. And I totally understand that. And if I'm being authentic and honest, I struggled with that as well. So I want to really point out that something isn't nothing. right? So even just a little bit a day can be beneficial. So we really want to focus on consistency and having a consistent practice instead of worrying about having this perfect practice where, we just start 20 minutes meditating every day and doing yoga. And that's not, I mean, that would be a great goal. We can always work towards that. But to get started, we can just start with a little bit into our day. So one way to incorporate the mindfulness is to start a yoga practice. There's all different kinds of yoga. I know a lot of times for me, I hear, there's the hot yoga and the power yoga, but really there's so much more than that you could try to incorporate. And it doesn't have to be an hour. I mean, it'd be great to get an hour of yoga in. That would be fabulous, but that's not always realistic. So even a short yoga practice, and on the next slide, I have some apps or different ideas of ways to practice yoga. But even, to find some time, maybe 10 or 15 minutes a day to practice yoga would be really beneficial. Another way to incorporate mindfulness into your life, your daily routine would be a dedicated meditation practice. So that would be where I'm talking about the dedicated meditation practice of finding a comfortable seat, sitting down. We usually see people with their legs folded like crisscross applesauce, and closing your eyes and really trying to, focus on your breath. And it's not so much having nothing going on in your mind, but really recognizing your thoughts as they come in, not judging your thoughts, but just letting them go. So trying to get that in, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, can be really beneficial. Another way to start, and you don't have to do all of these are just suggestions. So if you're able to find something that works for you, you want to try one of these, that would be great. What I typically like to start with, and what I'm really focusing on for myself right now, is incorporating mindfulness throughout my day, and incorporating mindfulness throughout your day. Sorry about my dog. So incorporating mindfulness throughout your day, as I mentioned before, just focusing on what you're doing when you're doing it. So if you think about things that we're already doing throughout our day, maybe you walk every day. Maybe you like to, when you walk, listen to an audiobook or a podcast. Could you spend maybe 5 minutes of your walk before you put your AirPods in or your earphones in, just focusing on what's going around you and being mindful in the moment, listening to the sounds around you, looking at the sights around you, focusing on your breath, and try that for 5 minutes and then listen to your book. Or one thing that I'm really trying to do is be mindful when I'm brushing my teeth, or daily routines. I don't know if anybody else does this, but sometimes I'm brushing my teeth and I'm in the bathroom and I notice my kids left their clothes on the floor again, or there's toys out, and so I end up brushing my teeth and I'm running all over the bathroom and the upstairs, like picking stuff up. So once again, that multitasking comes into play. So I'm really trying to brush my teeth and focus on brushing my teeth and noticing how the toothbrush feels in my mouth, how the toothpaste tastes, just noticing any smells or sights or anything around me, and being mindful. So incorporating mindfulness throughout your day. And it can be really helpful too, even at the dinner table. This can be a nice way to incorporate this with kids. So incorporating mindfulness throughout your day with kids could be maybe sitting at the dinner table, no phones, no electronics, having the kids sit at the table and just really be present with the people at the table with them, having a conversation. But like, once again, I just want to mention that the working towards consistency and not perfection. I think when we talk about our kids and how to incorporate mindfulness into their daily lives, one of the biggest things is for us to have a practice, right? So to be authentic of, this is something that we're doing. You're modeling that mindfulness for them. They're seeing you either practicing yoga or meditating or being more mindful throughout the day. So really starting with that, that modeling, the I do, we do, you do. So you're doing it, you're showing that example to them, and then maybe you're doing it with them at the dinner table or other times throughout the day, showing them, doing it with them, even maybe doing a yoga class together or sitting down and practicing the meditation together. And then, hopefully they can start to incorporate that in throughout their day as well. So helpful apps and websites. There are a ton of apps out there now on mindfulness and yoga. Two that I use are the Insight Timer and Calm. They have some free options. They also have some paid for options. So those are two that I really like. I like Calm. If you were to go into Calm and see, they have some different meditations for kids separated by age groups, which can be really helpful. They also have some sleep stories, things like that, that my kids seem to like to help them calm down and just kind of get ready for bedtime. Mindful Coach, Stop Breathe Think, Smiling Mind, UCLA Mindful, Mindfulness Daily. These are all great apps. I would suggest kind of going through these apps or looking up and finding one that would work for you and your family. Depending on the ages of your kids and what your kids might connect to. So going through these and kind of seeing which one would work for you would be helpful. Some of them have just music or different nature sounds you can listen to, or they also have some guided meditations that you could try and teaching you how to meditate. Some of them have some reminders of how to incorporate mindfulness in your life. So there's really a lot of great information on these apps. As far as yoga goes, there are some apps like Down Dog that have yoga online where you can pick how long you want to practice yoga for, maybe what your level is, intermediate, beginner, choose that and do yoga just in the privacy of your living room. YouTube has a ton of videos on mindfulness as far as they have yoga you can take. They have all kinds of yoga with Adriene, any different type of yoga you want to find, with maybe hatha yoga or vinyasa yoga. The kids yoga, Cosmic Yoga is a kids yoga on YouTube that seems to be really popular. A lot of kids like the Cosmic Yoga, and she has some different fun things with kids that they seem to like. There's some other yoga on there for kids, so you could search on YouTube. They have breathing exercises, all different types of things on there. Local studios are a great place. They will offer, depending on the studio, meditation classes, yoga classes. And right now, if you're not comfortable going in person to a yoga class, but you like the accountability of signing up for a class and having to show up at a certain time, that can be really helpful. They are offering, a lot of the local studios are offering online classes, online options, so that you could take the yoga class over Zoom if you're not comfortable going in person yet, or if they're not offering in-person classes. One yoga studio in like the Plymouth area, her name is Katie, and she's the owner of Down Pup Yoga, and she specializes in kids yoga. So if you wanted something specific for kids, it's sometimes teens or mostly younger kids. She's come out twice and done an online class for my daughter's Girl Scout troop. She was a ton of fun. The kids really like her. And so she also offers in-person, I believe she has some in-person classes coming up that are outside. She has online options. And then she also has yoga boxes, the subscription boxes that you can get once a month. She offers something like that as well. Just a yoga mindfulness box that you can sign up for. So that can be really helpful for kids as well. So what I wanted to do quickly is I wanted to try a couple different breathing exercises. Well, one specifically is called a square breathing or box breathing. And this is a really great exercise for adults. It's a really great exercise for kids and anybody in between. because you don't need any special tools to do this. You can do it anywhere. And it can be really helpful for when you're starting to learn how to meditate or quiet your mind. It can be really helpful when we try different strategies. So sometimes we might say a mantra in our head, or we might say, like I might tell myself peace when I inhale and love when I exhale, and that helps me just calm my mind. Another strategy might be to count. So you say 1 to yourself as you inhale and 2 as you exhale. So the box breathing is another strategy like that. And we use this a lot. I use this with my kids, my son and my daughter, because this is something they can do easily by themselves once they learn how to do it. So essentially you have a square or a box, and you imagine the square or box in your mind. So kind of picture it in there as you close your eyes. And then you are going to inhale for the count of 4 as you kind of picture drawing a line going up with the box. And then you're going to hold for the same amount. So hold your breath for 4 seconds as you picture going across. And then you're going to exhale going down the box and then hold. So as you can see on the screen, it's like an inhale 4 seconds, hold, exhale, hold. And you can do that for a minute, 5 minutes. You can start with 4 seconds. You can do 3 if 4 is too hard right now and you need to go to 3 seconds. It's absolutely fine. You can challenge yourself and try to go to 5 seconds. So we're going to try it together here as a group. So go ahead and make sure you're in a really comfortable position, just sitting in your chair. You have your feet down on the floor with your hands on your knees about hip width apart. Go ahead and just relax your shoulders down. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. If you're not comfortable closing your eyes, you can just find a soft gaze. And then imagine a box or a square in your mind. And then we're gonna just let all the air out of our stomach, out of our belly right now. And then we're going to inhale as we draw a line up the box for 4 seconds. So let's go inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, exhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Good. So we're going to stop there, but feel free to practice this some more or start trying to incorporate this a couple times a day or even just once a day for a couple minutes and see how you feel if that works for you. There's also on YouTube, they will have people that will guide you through box breathing and square breathing, and they'll even have a graphic with the square if that's something that you wanted to try. So I think we have a couple minutes, or maybe not, I'm not exactly sure. Patricia, do we have a couple minutes to do a short flow?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, perfect, thank you. Okay, so I'm just gonna do a short yoga flow with you sitting in your chair. We'll do a short yoga flow. So once again, please make sure that you're in a stable chair. So if your chair has wheels on it, it might not be the best chair. I just want everybody to make sure that they're safe, and that if you're on tile or hardwood floor, sometimes your chair can slide around also. So just please be very careful and listen to your body. And so everything that I'm gonna suggest are just suggestions. So I can't see you and I don't know your body. So please listen to yourself and know your own limitations. But go ahead and sit with your feet firmly on the ground with your knees hip width apart, your hands on your knees. And just lift your shoulders up to your ears and then just relax them down as you sink down into your chair, finding a soft, gentle gaze. You can close your eyes if you feel balanced here, but even just finding a soft, gentle gaze here. And we're just going to bring our awareness to our breath, breathing in and out through our nose. And then as we exhale, we're going to get our right ear, take our right ear down to our right shoulder just for a gentle neck stretch. And we'll inhale, come back to center. Exhale, take your left ear to your left shoulder. And inhale, come up to center. Do this a couple more times, moving with your breath. Exhale to bring your ear to your shoulder. Inhale to come to center. And feel free to move at your own pace, moving with your breath. And we'll do it one more time. Exhale. Inhale to center. Exhale, ear to shoulder. And inhale to center. Good. It's moving into a cat-cow. So keeping your feet hip-width apart. We're going to inhale as we lift our chest up and lift our gaze up. And as we exhale, we're going to bring our gaze down into our chin, our chin into our chest, excuse me, drawing your pubic bone forward, and rolling through your spine. Then inhale to bring your chest forward, bringing your gaze up. And exhale, bringing your chin to your chest. And then we'll come back to neutral. Inhaling as we bring our arms up overhead. Noticing if you're hiking up your shoulders, can you roll your shoulders down away from your ears? Dropping your right hand down, grabbing onto the side of your chair for stability. Inhale to lengthen up, and as you exhale, start to bend over gently to the right, making sure not to bend too far. We don't want to lose our balance. Your gaze can be up towards your hand if that feels okay on your neck, or it can be neutral, or you could even be looking down at the floor. And then inhale to bring your right hand back up, and then exhale as you bring your left arm down, grasping the side of your chair. Inhale to lengthen, and exhale as you bend over to the left, finding some space in that right side body. And then inhale to come back up to center. This time as we exhale, we're going to bring our right hand behind us, grabbing the back side of your chair, and then taking your left hand to your right knee just for a very gentle twist. So you can have your head neutral, your gaze kind of looking to the side, or you can try to twist a little bit deeper, bringing your gaze over your right shoulder. And take an inhale here. On your next exhale, come back to center. We're going to move to the left side. So bring your left hand behind you, grabbing onto the back of your chair, bringing your right hand to your left knee. Your gaze can be to the front or just gently to the side. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can go ahead and take your gaze over your left shoulder for a nice gentle twist. Don't force your body too much. Just listen to your body and be very gentle. And then exhale, come back to center. And we're just going to take a moment, just a couple breaths here in our center position with our feet on the ground, a couple inhales. Noticing how our body feels. Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. I'm not sure if there's any questions.
I think you were so thorough in your explanations.
Oh.
We don't have any questions, so that's exciting.
Okay.
But I will say thank you, Dawne, so much for sharing such great information with us. I know this topic of mindfulness, meditation, adopting some sort of active practice like yoga is just so relevant for us right now as kids and as adults with everything that's happening in life. So you mentioned some really great resources, and we'll have all that here in the slideshow. And really just those exercises, box breathing and that short chair yoga was very relaxing. So, and just a great example of how, it can take me 5 minutes as an adult or as a kid in a classroom to just take that mindfulness practice and relax my body and my mindset. So thank you so much for
Thank
sharing
you.
with us how we can use this with our kids and as parents, even ourselves.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
And I'll just say on behalf of our Walled Lake Parenting Education Team and the Lakes Area Community Coalition, we say thank you for all of our families that have spent time with us. And as a reminder, our presentations are being recorded and will be available on the Walled Lake and the Lakes Area Community Coalition websites. And we hope that you'll join us again for our next Wellness Wednesday webinar. We have 2 more this month and currently have our April activities going on as well. So check those out on the Lakes Area Community Coalition site. And then we'll close this out for the season and hopefully start up again in the fall. So thanks for joining us, everybody. Thank you for Dawne for such great information, Dawne, and I hope everyone has a great night.